Hi, my name is Bob, but this isn't about me. This is about my dad, Jim. Born in 1943, he is the son of my Grams and Gramps, Jet and Phil Wyman. Jim grew up as one of 4 boys, Tom, Paul, and Mark. Jim fell in love with a pretty girl down the street when he was 15. Her name is Linda, but I call her Mom. Certainly, the greatest thing to happen to my parents was the creation of myself and my older brother Jim. My dad is a retired nuclear physicist. He worked on top secret projects like 6 years ago, we filmed some interviews with my father, and I'd like to share them with you. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Jim.
Okay, ask me a question.
What do you think makes you a good husband?
I have Linda. Oh, you didn't think that was coming, did you?
I like that.
There's Linda.
Linda is just the most wonderful person for me. She's just amazingly beautiful. Linda is just the nicest girl. I love Linda. She's a wonderful person. I love that woman so much. She's beautiful. Oh, I absolutely love her. Oh, she's wonderful.
How did you?
We got married.
Oh, let's go back a little.
I met Jim when I was 13 and Jim was 15. And we water skied and we swam and we hiked, had fun together. So we could talk about pretty much anything for hours. There was a photographer from the local newspaper. He was just looking for some kids.
They wanted to take our pictures and the pictures came out beautiful.
And that's how we got on the cover.
I remember as a kid, I used to see that picture framed up on the wall, and I never connected that was my parents until I was 10 or 11, and I go, wait, that's you?
People knew who we were then.
After a couple of years, we started to realize we kind of liked each other. High school, we were dating, and I was going to go to Simmons in Boston. And so I lasted 2 years, and then I transferred. It really made me realize that, yeah, Jim was the one that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with.
Eventually, we decided that we really wanted to get married. We both agreed that that was the best thing we ever did. She's always there to say yes. We love to travel. We've been all over the place. So we keep going, we don't say no.
My dad's an awesome person, but a large part of why he's awesome is because Mom is also an awesome person. It's just like the two of them together just enhance each other so much. They always had a plan. We always had an adventure. We were always outside doing something, and that was really, really cool. And I think because they did that, my brother and I grew really close because we had shared all those adventures together.
Up until the time they were 7 and a half, I thought they might kill each other because they fought. But then when they got to be 7, 8 years old, I guess they decided it was time to become friends, and they were just inseparable. Bob always said that he depended on Jim, but the reality was I think Jim really depended on Bob. I mean, it was just a pretty mutual thing. Really, really good buddies, and one would die for the other, I swear. They were really, really close.
Lake George is at the core of everything we did, and it still is now. It's like we took off and we went to the Pacific Northwest for 20 years, but we came back almost every summer to be at Lake George, because it's just so medicinal. Lake George is spiritually medicinal.
Are we ready?
Skiing was kind of cool because you have this 10-minute ride up in the chairlift where you can kind of have a conversation. But the nice thing is you can kind of tackle some stuff that maybe you wouldn't normally bring up at the dinner table. And so we kind of all got in that cadence where we'd have these little micro conversations and then get off the lift, take a run, and then come back together in a new micro conversation. Every 3 years, he likes to find something that he's a complete novice at, because he actually really enjoys learning something new. He doesn't have to be the best at it, but just learning it and mastering it to his level that he likes, and then moving on to something new. That was Dad and his enthusiasm just for life. So Dad, tell us again about the bike accident.
Oh, that was terrible, boy. I was going to work on my bicycle, plowed right into my leg. You know, my leg was just totally just useless. The heck's that?
So when you got hit by the car,
Yeah.
you said something about, like, the first thing you said is, "Oh shit, someone got hit."
Yes.
And then you realized
Yeah,
it was
it
you.
was me.
Oh, it's me.
It was me.
But then you said you had like a out-of-body experience?
Out-of-body experience, yeah. And you look up and there was this light, and it was about 12 feet above me. And I knew what it was. You know, there's things that happen to people all the time, and you really have to know how to be ready for these things, because they do happen. Never want to go through it again, but the image up there, it's just, it tells you that there's something there waiting for you, and that's the nice part about it. And I think your brother had an experience like that, falling, you know, same type of thing. And it's up in the air, and I'm sure he must have seen the light.
So Jim went into the mountains on June 3rd, 2000, and he didn't come back. I didn't really cry, I just couldn't really process it. And I think that's what was happening with Dad, is that he really couldn't process it.
Jim was very stoic in that respect. I always have let my feelings out, so I literally just cried for days and days and days. And I felt really bad for Bob, because, and to this day, I think, you know, I don't think he'd ever get over it. I really don't.
And then my mom, I think she's still processing it. I think that wound kind of stays open. And I think it was one of the few times that Mom and Dad's relationship really got challenged.
When you start losing your children, that's the hardest thing you can go through.
We've had friends that have lost children and actually wound up getting divorced, because it's it's kind of it's a tough time.
What kept you guys together through that challenge?
I guess because we really were devoted to each other. You know, God made that decision. He was going to take him no matter what we did. And our biggest fear was that he'd take you too. And we called you off the mountain when you were searching.
Losing Jim was a really, I don't know, it almost feels like that was an experience that our family actually needed. The way I process that in my head is like, you know, our life is chapters, and those chapters are not just our experience, but also like our relationships have chapters too, right? So we never know when that particular book with that person's going to end. So it's like you don't know if it's a short story or if it's a novel. And you know, with Jim, it was somewhere in between. And so I think that helped me kind of carry a lot of Jim into my next chapters, but with the acceptance that he wasn't going to be there.
So you're getting older.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I mean, you are forgetting some things, right?
Not much.
Not much?
No.
Are you ever afraid you're going to start forgetting memories?
I would work very hard to remember things, because you know, memories and stuff are very important for a person, and to lose a memory is a serious loss.
So Pop has Alzheimer's, but he did it his way. Somehow, the decline of Alzheimer's was one step ahead of his awareness. He never knew he had Alzheimer's. He didn't have the ability to create that awareness that something's different about me because his cognitive ability was at a lower level. But the thing is that he's still making the best of it. I mean, he programmed himself to have these positive responses to whatever situation he's in. Somehow he makes it work. Mom thinks that sometimes she worries and she thinks it's a burden to have him in my house, and I'm like, that's like the best part of my day. He's definitely there. I mean, the core of my dad is definitely there. I know Mom breaks down. I've seen her break down. She gets frustrated that she can't help him, and she kind of envisioned that this would be the stage where they'd be sitting on the deck talking about all the amazing things they'd done and hugging each other, but he pulls her out of it. And I think if there's anything I can pass on to my son, you hear that line where people say that, well, he died doing what he loved. I think more so, I think in our family we kind of live doing what we love. And then I think on top of that, my dad kind of demonstrated that you love whatever you're living. Dad's passion for life and the people important to him is unconditional. Things happen for a reason. You can pull a reason out of that that's going to build you. It could be a tragedy, you pull out of that the love of the people that are still around you. I have to get the whole basket. The basket has my anger, the basket has my sorrow, but also in that basket is a toy prize, and I need to find that. And Dad is so good at that. He's always found that golden nugget, it's like a flow for him. It's like a natural flow.
To this day, when he smiles, I melt, and he's got the best smile in the world. He really does. If I could lie down next to Jim and we could close our eyes, and I'd say, okay, Jim, let's move on. I think we'd both do it in a second. We've been very lucky. We had a great life. That's the life, boy.
In your lifetime, you have to decide what is worth doing and what's not worth doing.
Hi, Dad.
You go through a whole life, and you get near the end and decide, what did I do in my lifetime that was worthwhile? I did the life I lived, and I was very, very lucky, because that was what made me happy, really happy. And it just makes for a wonderful life, yeah.